Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast. This time talking about, well, another Big Finish release. But this one's rather special. This one's Stranded, Volume 3. Stranded has become, by default, a place where we get Doctor Who that isn't quite the way we normally have it. There are 4 stories in this box set, which brings the stories set on a Doctor, almost but not quite stranded on Earth, to 12. And there's going to be a 4th volume. I'm not sure if it finishes at Volume 4. But you know what? It's great. No, that's not quite the right word. It's absolutely brilliant. There are stories in the Stranded box sets that you just don't get anywhere else in Doctor Who. It's difficult to explain, but that's kind of my job to do it, to tell you at great length and in great depth, basically that these stories are different. Let me explain. We've had things like unit dating. Yes, we've had the comedy stories, but we've never had stories quite like this. And that's continuing here, especially with story 3.4, with what just happened. But as always, I'm getting ahead of myself. Patience by Tim Foley. Well, tell you what, here's the synopsis for the whole of the box set. After crashing in 2020 London, the TARDIS is healing. Now it can take its passengers through time and space, but the future has changed around them. A sinister force steers humanity's destiny as the Doctor and friends investigate the mystery they're trapped inside. They may make the outcome even worse. Now, we've kind of, as an audience, figured out who the bad guy is. We've known that since, box set 2. We've kind of had it implied since box set 1. But we're ahead of the game. So what we're looking at is how the characters involved know and work out what's actually going on. So that's why I thought that this might be the last box set, but it's not. Patience features the Judoon. But here's the synopsis. The Doctor decides to investigate the limits of the paradoxical timeline in which he and his friends are stranded. But they find themselves hunted by a force of mercenary Judoon. It seems that Earth's altered history has changed the whole universe. You see, as these box sets are continuing, we're getting more and more into the realm of spoilers. Because everything's building on what's gone before. We know that something weird has happened and is almost but not quite created, parallel timelines. Our heroes are all on the run. Now we've got people from Torchwood, we've got some fantastic relationships going on, we've got the Doctor being oblivious and also knowing everything, and everything's fitting together beautifully. But this is basically a lot of characters stranded somewhere else, and they're all coming together. It's very difficult to explain. It's one of those things that if you listen to, you just have it wash over you and you get to experience just loveliness. Except, of course, none of these stories are truly, lovely and enjoyable. They're enjoyable in the sense of being tremendously well structured, well written, and you feel a tremendous feeling of achievement when you've got through them. But getting through something, some of these stories aren't fun because they touch you emotionally. Story number 2, 3.2, Twisted Folklore, Lizzie Hopley. That name just keeps reappearing and giving out fantastic work. Tracking the course of the future, the Doctor and friends arrive on a strange planet where human forces rule. Earth and divine intervention are shaping the universe in their own image. Helen, Liv and Tanya embed themselves in society while the Doctor starts a revolution. This is a very, very clever story. There's bits of Brothers Grimm and there's bits of interfering on a planet. There's also a kind of, well, full circle vibe, but none of these things really give it enough credence because it's so much better than all of the things that I've just mentioned. It is definitely its own creature. The Doctor is working to defeat someone called the Doctor, using the power of story and myth to create something, well, to defeat something sinister. And as always in science fiction, the biggest monsters, well, they're the humans. Snow by James Kettle. Now here's a lovely story. Returning to London in the 2030s, the TARDIS travellers find a sinister elite taking hold. Well, at least said soonest men did on that one. Is it 2030 or is it, well, now? Anyway, back to the synopsis. Baker Street now has just one lonely resident, and what's more, it's the last place on Earth where snow ever falls. It's not just global warming here, it's something much more impressive. And the snow really, really is important to the plot in such a big way. The lone individual resident of Baker Street, the performance is so touching, so moving, so incredibly real that, well, if you're after an award-winning piece, this is where it lives. But then again, you've got Liv. The whole thing is just brilliant. Her and Tanya's relationship is just marvellous. It's a thing that's just so, well, I've used the word raw before, but it needs to be true. And this leads into story 3.4, which is what just happened. This story is told backwards. Now, because I listen on an MP3 and I play it all back, I did think that I'd got the tracks in the wrong order because it starts with the very end and then it plays out perfectly in chunks. It makes total sense to the listener because it sets things up. It's not like Memento. There are lots and lots of other examples of stories being played out in reverse that just work. A lot of Memento is played forward, but that's the kind of thing we're going for here. Because it's just incredible. For fans of PC Andy, well, Sergeant Andy, it's a very important story. But also, you've got some great things going on. And you know what? I'm just loving this box set. So if you like your Doctor Who slightly different, this is for you. Here's the trailer and decide for yourself, as always. But as far as I'm concerned, Stranded has been a standalone thing that just keeps on delivering. McGann's Doctor is just wonderful. So until next time, be seeing you.
From Big Finish Productions, Doctor Who, The Eighth Doctor Adventures, Stranded 3.
I am on an alien planet.
Cup of tea?
We're on the edge of the known universe, and you're putting on the kettle.
Home comforts. Embrace it.
Like, I've seen extraordinary things popping up in the most ordinary of places. But now I'm here, in the most extraordinary place I've ever visited. I kind of just want to do ordinary things.
Are you sure this is a good idea?
I wish people wouldn't keep asking me questions like that. It's starting to get demoralising.
I don't want us getting complacent. That's a dangerous thing to become right now. Rhythm, routine. That's what'll see us through.
All extraterrestrial phenomena are the exclusive property of divine intervention.
Something is wrong.
Run!
We'll take the TARDIS, and we'll take this place.
You will not, you vicious minx.
We're not settling the bill in a restaurant. We're playing with human history.
We're not playing. I take human history very seriously indeed.
That's the thing with time travel. Things change, and once they're changed, they stay changed.
Something came through the letterbox.
Down.
Big Finish. We love stories.
A Villain in Venice, Jane of the Air, Book 1. A steampunk detective and aviatrix and part-time spy. Available now. All profits to the NHS.
That was the Doctor Who Tin Dog Podcast. Available on iTunes, YouTube, Twitter, RSS, Vimeo, and across the internet. Doctor Who and its associated properties are all copyright and trademark of the BBC. No infringement is intended. Why not become a supporter by visiting patreon.com/tindog. Contact the show on tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.